Well, I'm back with more DIY bodyworks and wellness tips. And as always, I love to feature my publication, I Touch Myself, and I like it. It is a DIY self-massage, acupressure, reflexology, and Wealth-flex-ology journal recorder. And I woke up this morning, I had some sinus issues going on, and you probably can tell I'm a little nasally. So I'm going to be actually doing some foot reflexology. I'm actually probably going to do it on both of my feet, but I'm actually feeling guided to start with my right foot first. And so I'm going to be using some ginger essential oil. So I'm just going to get started. Just going to get started with some of this here. I love using this oil. It's the best oil to use, not just on myself but on clients as well. So I'm a little stocked up. I have been throughout the night. We've had some weather patterns that have shifted, and so I'm feeling guided to really work on this area. And though I try to keep up on this, and I do, but there are times where there are going to be certain things that happen. And if you watch any of my other videos, normally when I have something sinus related going on, it typically deals with one of my signature works that either needs to be expanded or a new one needs to be created. And that's kind of been something for me, like really throughout the years, is when my sinuses flare up. Even from just environmental issues or things, going on with the weather. So I'm sure that during this time, I'll be working on maybe some Wealth-flex-ology aspect and just being present with that. So I'm going to do some foot massaging first. I feel the need to actually warm up my foot. So I'm actually going to open up my hips, and this is just a hip reflexor. You come underneath your ankle bones and just the blades of your hands. You just begin to work that. So what I'll do is probably just some general protocol for well-being. Doing a foot twist here, kind of a spinal twist here. And what I'm going to do, because I want to strengthen my immune system, is I'm going to walk up the spine, do a worm walk up the spine, and the spine is primarily it's going up here. So I'm feeling guided to do this, strengthen my immunity, and work on my nervous system a little bit here. Let's go back down. Let me see if you can see that. Let's prop my foot on my other foot here. So I'm just gonna work on that here. Before I actually get into the brain area, the big toe, where the brain, the face, the nose, and actually the sinus pads, too, starting here, getting to my neck. I'm going to work in the thymus gland area. So all of this is immune boosting. So kind of that juicy part of underneath the big toe, down there, sort of work in that area. And so I'm just going to work here. And it's interesting, I did wake up during the middle of the night and I had a foot cramp. So I had to do kind of some foot massage to myself and get myself a little bit more hydrated. So I still actually have a few tender spots. And I can feel it just as I'm pressing here, kind of like the nerve kind of just going down into the adrenal area, kidney area. So I'm going to work in there as well. Like I said, I feel guided to really boost my immunity, and then I'll be working, like I said, on my sinuses too here. So let me come over here. Because it's good. I'm actually not really feeling, much of any pain or so in this area, even though when I worked here, I could feel kind of a little, like I said, kind of a nervy. But actually, now that I'm doing this, I'm not feeling that, so that's good. That's the thing about the DIY body work. And if you watch any of my other videos, you know, I tell you, I get instant results, you know, with this, and it's just a time release. It just continues. So I'm working the adrenal areas right up underneath the ball of the foot, and then down a little bit is the kidney. So I'm going to do just a few little kidney presses here. Okay. Yeah, won't stay in there too long, but so I'm going to do a little bit of rubbing here. Okay, so now I'm actually going to come over, and I'm going to get a little bit more oil. I think if I do end up working on my left foot, I'm going to just maybe use some of the lotions that I have too. So, we'll work here. Okay. So I'm going to come over here to my big toe, and I'm just going to start doing some worm walking down. Normally I like to kind of do it this way, but yeah, I'm just going to go with the guidance of just not being too technical, just, yeah. Okay, come right in here to my pineal gland, and it's like the hold and breathe. And then the pituitary, hold and breathe. Okay. So I'm just going to give this toe some love. Like I said, I'm just going to kind of do more massaging in a sense here. And, yeah. So working the brain, working the face, working the nose here, working the mouth, and then working the neck. Just really getting kind of a warm up here so I can step into another level in a sense of working on the sinus pads. So let me just start working here. I don't know if you can see this. So let me hold my feet up here. So yeah, so these are the sinus pads. And if you've watched any of my other videos, you can, you know, see me do other demonstrations here. But yeah, I'm just trying to get out ahead of, you know, any more sinus stuff. You know, it's still early, so it could partly be why I'm nasally too and congested. I'm sure that by the afternoon or mid-morning, maybe that shift would have changed in terms of my nasalness, so to speak. So I'm just working on my toes, and I'm going to come back and do a little bit more. I just wanted to kind of warm them up. So I'm going to spend time just really at this point just rubbing them and pumping them. And then I'll start working in between the toes here. And this is good to do, you know, even if you don't have sinus issues. It's good to at least maybe, you know, every 2 weeks or so for sure, to do some reflexology in this area. So I'm going to dig in between the toes here. Yep, keep strengthening up this immunity. I'm highly sensitive to environmental toxins and, you know, those airborne pollutants that you can't see, you know, very sensitive to mold and you know, and different things like that. So I have to really stay on top of my immunity, but, you know, every now and again, especially when there's weather patterns shifting or so, and there are some other things going on in the environment, I have to do a little extra work, you know, on myself. So yeah, okay, so yeah, I'm gonna just keep working here. Sometimes, you know, you have to really just go with the guidance. You know, I try not to be so technical, so to speak, on when I'm doing the DIY body work. You know, obviously when I'm doing demonstrations, I do have to explain, you know, some things, but a lot of times I like for you to just see, and also to see how there really is no wrong way to do it, you know, in a sense, obviously when you're following the guidance. So yeah, so I'm just allowing myself just to do some rubbing. It's more self-massage, incorporated, you know, with the reflexology, you know, aspect. So you feel it in here. Okay, that feels pretty good there. So, all right, so I'm going to work my lung area. So working the lungs here. And yeah, just the respiratory aspect. And it's interesting because I've been guided to actually do a little bit more work in terms of the respiratory system. And so probably spend time today for sure being present with what that more expansive work you know, could be. So even as I'm touching myself now and working, you know, in this area, I'm just being present, especially for the Wealth-flex-ology aspect, just to see if there's any insights or anything that come up in terms of, you know, what that signature work, you know, needs to look like, or just what I need to explore, you know, around this. And it could be something very simple, may not be like a program or anything. My signature works, a lot of times when I do them, at least, you know, train with them a few times, they end up becoming publications or some type of curriculum at the end of the day. So, you know, we'll just see if this is something going to be kind of a longer term thing, or yeah, if it's just something that I just need to create. Could be a YouTube playlist too, you know, with some videos, you know, around working more on the respiratory system. So we'll just see, like I said, but I'm just spending a little time. I'm actually going to work the diaphragm area here. So, yeah. Again, I like to, when I'm doing these videos, I just like to show you all how it just can be just simple, non-intimidating. The thing is that you need to establish a relationship with your body and be able to spend time, even if it's just a little bit of time, doing this self-touch. You know, you'd be amazed at how your own hands can work wonders. It definitely can. Coming back up here to the thymus gland area here. Yeah, it's just really following the guidance. Well, you can probably hear me. I'm sniffling here. Something's moving and changing. But what I'm going to do is actually I'm going to switch over to my left foot now, and maybe a little bit more difficult to see that, but I am feeling guided to spend some time here. So I'm just going to get a little bit of lotion here and yeah, work this area here. So I'm sure y'all can hear me sniffling. It's good I can do this in real time with you, you know, where I've got this going on. So I'm going to kind of change positions here so you can see my foot, you know, a little bit better. So yeah, so I'm being guided just to kind of spend time kind of rubbing. So I'm actually going to come up here to my toes. I'm going to actually warm them up this way. When I say warm them up, not necessarily that they're cold. It's just really to prepare, you know, this foot for what is about to take place. I felt guided, you know, my right foot to open up my hips to move the energy. So I did the hip flexor. Not feeling guided to do that here, just feeling guided to be with my, yeah, just kind of warm them up. And immediately I'm being guided to go into the piano, yeah, the piano hand aspect. So y'all can hear me, my sinuses. yeah, I mean, it just goes to show that, even those who are the wellness advocates and we work in this area, it does not exempt us from uh, getting some seasonal um, allergy challenges or, you know, kind of cold-like symptoms or so. Just tend not to have them as severe, as those who are um, regularly taking care of themselves, a certain way. So yeah, I can feel things just moving around. And as they're moving, I kind of sound a little bit more nasally, but it's shifting, and that's the good thing. So when I take time to get even more hydrated, which I actually, am hydrated because, as I mentioned, I woke up this morning and had a cramp and everything, so I had to drink quite a bit of water. So definitely been, hydrated. I've had my B12, today, and so probably be taking some astragalus root extract in a little bit just to help support, the immunity. So come here. I'm actually going to come this way and work. It's so good to dig in. It's like I said, helps the sinuses tremendously. So I'm being guided to work in reverse. So I'm gonna, actually use my index finger here and walk down this pad. And some pumping here. Just really work that toe. A little toe here. Okay. So let me come over to this toe. Can feel a little bit of congestion here. It's amazing, the more you actually do this, you can tell when something is a little off. Or a lot off. It's just a little congestion going on here, so spend a little time here just working. And as you see, I'm just doing some rubbing, and that's what it's mostly calling for. I'm doing a little bit of kind of walking down the pads, kind of hooking and holding, taking a deep breath. Okay, so let me come over here. Start working here a little more. It's interesting not being guided to really spend that much time on my big toe, so yeah, let me just be present here. I'm just going to do some rubbing, and just to see if I am guided to do some more work, since I did work on my left foot. What I'm going to do actually is kind of work down in my intestinal tract. So you can see that right in here. So all of this is like your intestinal tract, your bladder and everything. So I'm just going to spend just a little time rubbing in there. I don't have any intestinal issues going on, but anytime you actually have any type of sickness or just any type of thing that is kind of ailing you in a sense, the track is always going to be good, to work in. So let's just do a little of this. I'm actually going to you won't be able to see this, but I'm just kind of doing, I'll demonstrate it on what I'm doing on my right foot. Just kind of doing just some dot to dot here, just working in there. So that's what I'm doing on the left foot. That's what I'm feeling guided to do. My oil fell over there. So yeah, so I am I'm going to go up my spine here. Yeah. So let me turn my foot here. Going to come back in here, do the piano hands. Spend a little time in the eye area here. This is always a good area to work, especially when you have, we have sinuses, going on, sinus issues going on. It's amazing how everything is so connected. I'm working the lungs here, but I'm just going to do some pressing. Pressing here. Now this area here is the area, if you really want to work the respiratory system, for sure work in this area. So I am going to spend a little time when it looks like on the right foot is just digging into where the bone is. I'm doing this, like I said, on my left foot here. Spend some time there. It's a little tender. That's not abnormal though, but I'm just going to take a little bit of time just to work here. Yeah. So work up there. So yeah, so so you all, like I said, get to be with me here. As you can hear, like I said, that I definitely have the sinus stuff going on, but yeah, so working on myself here, give my toes a little bit more love. And I, will probably come back a little later and do a little bit more work, just moving the energy, especially while it's still early, because it actually is pretty early. You all can see I'm like still in my bathrobe and everything. So it's like I'm getting up to work on myself, and I just figured I might as well make a video for you all to just be with me, like I said, during this time. Get to see the realness of things, like I said. Do this work, but it certainly does not exempt, exempt me or exempt others in this field from, still having to deal with a few, challenges for well-being. So yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, so you do this. Oh my goodness, I can feel this. I'm clearing up. You all might not can really hear it, but I am. My nasal passages they're really opening up. I can feel in the sinus cavities. Just yeah, it's going up. Do a little acupressure. Do some liver 3. This is one of those points that you probably can't touch enough. It's right here in between. Here. It's acupressure. Do some breathing here. Oh, and I'm so glad that it's not tender. But sometimes when you're working in the valleys, you get a little bit of pain, but it's not really pain. I could just say you just feel the difference. And that's not something that's abnormal. Like if you touch parts and they're tender, then that's kind of something else here. But yeah. So you all, can you hear me? Can you hear the difference already? Yeah. I'm sniffling, but like I said, it's clearing. Everything is shifting. Like I said, I've given giving myself some love here. So I'm just again working the respiratory system. And like I said, I'm going to take these last few moments, in a sense, as I'm still, in this area here, yeah, to think about what is it that needs to come forth from me in terms of sharing more about sinus healing and just the overall respiratory aspect. I'm feeling almost like I may be tying in some of my publishing-preneur aspect and actually bringing in more of that to teach you all about, in terms of how when you actually do have sinus issues, especially if it's chronic, how it's related a lot of times to you having a lot of content and ideas within you that need to move, and the best way to be able to move that content is through writing, and publishing. So I have my own journey around that. It's one of my more extensive expanded empires too, and so who knows, I may be sharing some of that with you all, and bringing that into this aspect. So we'll see. Like I said, I'll just when I get ready to do the Wealth-flex-ology aspect in the recording. So I'm just gonna kind of bring this to conclusion. Just move the energy here to the toes. Yeah, just move it up here. Okay. All right. So thank you for being with me. I'm bring my publication back here. I touch myself and I like it. And you can secure a copy of this on Amazon, but there will be information below where you actually can secure a copy. And just continue to follow these videos of these particular playlists that I put these in, because there's tremendous value for you to just be able to learn how to do this basic DIY body work on yourself, and to be able to improve your overall well-being, but at the same time be able to learn also how you can use your body's knowledge and wisdom and being present to make an impact and an income possibly. So yeah, the Wealth-flex-ology aspect. So yeah, I'll be back with you soon, and maybe I'll do a follow-up video in terms of maybe later on, and you can see how my sinuses have improved. So thanks for being with me.